Great to meet you in person, man.
Yeah, great to meet you, Dave.
I'm excited. A lot of stuff has been virtual, which is fine. We've had to be safe. But when you get to speak with somebody like you in person, I love it. I have to say, welcome to Texas.
You are here.
There it is. Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right. What inspired this story for you? I mean, we're going to break down the Texas stuff. I'm a native Texan in a few, but I want to know where this began for you.
It began with the idea that a disconnected, shallow person who I had too much in common with. But it turns out, talking to people, a lot of people identify with this. You have people on your phone with different names that you don't totally remember. You're texting them all the time, and you have a breakup, and then you idealize them after the fact. Sort of this phone culture where you can lose track of who's important to you. The idea that a guy like that would get a call that his girlfriend is dead. He's more surprised by girlfriend than dead. And that he's expected to avenge the death. I thought, if I can make that story realistic, that would be really funny and also have a lot to explore in today's age.
The very first thing I did after I saw this movie was I grabbed my mom. She watched it with me. I'm like, we're going to Whataburger.
Great.
But so I want you break this down. Whataburger, and I'm not ruining anything, but I went to Texas Tech. Get your guns up. You've got Frito Pie. You've got UT, University of Texas. And bless your heart. Oh, tell me about the research that you did, because you got everything that is Texas in this film.
I really wanted to be welcome in Texas after this movie. So being here right now and premiering it at the Alamo Drafthouse in Austin last night was really a dream come true and a relief. I didn't want to make a movie that anyone felt bad about. And having made The Office, which is set in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Scranton has conventions for The Office. Scranton is so proud The Office is set there. And I really wanted to do that with everything I do. So I thought, if I set a movie in Texas, I need Texans to feel like, okay, that guy cared enough. So I spent a lot of time traveling around, figuring out, all right, what town do I want to set it in? What surprises me? How am I treated as a guy who is so clearly an outsider in this world? And that was the most interesting thing on my research, is that, it was an intimidating place to me. Everything's bigger in Texas, the trucks, the guns, the people. But the friendliness was something that I had never encountered in my life before. And so that paradox between feeling like, oh, Texas, that's a mythological, scary place, to a guy from Boston, to I've never been treated more like family on a leap of faith. That paradox, I thought, is really what my character learns, that heart sees heart.
I was going to ask how your opinions or thoughts of Texas has changed, and you pretty much just told me that. How did you get, Ashton Kutcher? I mean, directorial debut, I will point out, and we're going to break that down in a second, but you've got Dove Cameron, who is in this movie. I mean, how did you figure out casting and all that?
Well, I wanted it to be an eclectic cast, the same way the movie is a mix of tones, and there's surprising dynamics in the movie. I thought, let's make the cast not just great actors, but actors that you wouldn't expect to see together. So Ashton I had actually worked with on Punk'd. That was my first job as an actor. So it had been, more than 10 years since I had worked with him. But I knew that here's a guy who's really underestimated. In real life, he's this intellectual powerhouse who's a mega TV producer and tech guy. But everyone knows him as That 70s Show, Dude, Where's My Car? And I needed my character to have his head spun around, to think he's going to make fun of people or condescend, and then realize, oh my God, these people are smarter than I am. So I thought, well, Ashton's the perfect guy to turn the movie on its head, because we all see him a certain way and he's somebody else. And then Dove Cameron just auditioned. And I looked her up and I was like, wait a second, 50 million followers on Instagram? And since then, everyone under 25, that's the person they freak out about. But I thought, well, that's an interesting piece of the puzzle. And Issa Rae is, such a high-class HBO powerhouse. And Luann Stevens was on Friday Night Lights, so she had done the Texas Granny. But we had to find a new way for her to do it. So all these people, you wouldn't think they'd go together, but that was the fun for me.
I mentioned Whataburger, which is they've kind of sold out, though, that they've gone nationwide. I mean, it used to be our little gem here in Texas, but have you had Whataburger at all?
Oh yeah,
You have.
I have a lot of opinions about Whataburger. I think the burger is actually the least of it. I think what really makes Whataburger stand out is the late night menu, the Dr. Pepper shake, and the sauces. The sauces make it, and the burger they should call it Whata something else, in my opinion. But I do like it a lot, and I love the feeling of that place.
You need to get a banana pudding shake because that's what they're pushing right now too. The Dr. Pepper shake is great. Right now they have a banana pudding. I love that I never get to talk about stuff like this in interviews. The fact that we get to bring up Whataburger. They follow me, by the way, on social. So
congratulations. Yeah. That's a big, when they followed me, that was a big day for me.
All right. Relationship is at the core of this story as well. Is there any dating advice or guidance that can be taken? This is a date movie. You could take a date.
You could take a date, and I think, in a funny way. I mean, the movie opens with me and John Mayer on a rooftop bar, thinking we're the coolest guys in the world, and texting all these people in our phones that we put down from Emily Tinder, things like that. And I think you don't have to be John Mayer to have a lot of people in your phone. If you're single these days, we all meet a ton of people. We talk to them online, and you don't really know how deep your connection is, which is the misunderstanding that sets the plot in motion. So I think what my character learns, and what anyone can learn from the movie, if they learn anything about dating, is that you have to really be in the moment with somebody. You can't look at their photos after they're gone, whether it's a death like in the movie or a breakup. You need to be in that moment then.
All right, now we're going to talk directing.
Okay, great.
What surprised you? I mean, I'm a big fan of your work.
Thank you.
I mean, Inglorious, everything you've done. What surprised you about actually, and you're directing yourself in this, I should add. Was that difficult? And what surprised you about the directorial, taking on a director's duty?
Well, the most exciting thing about directing is, someone told me before I started, it was actually Al Ruddy who produced The Godfather. And I met him and I said, do you have any advice? And he said, you only need to know two things to direct: what you want and how to get it. And I was like, wow, that's brilliant for anything in life, by the way. So I thought, all right, what I really need to do, and what I really learned from the movie, is that it's a collective project and everyone needs to be inspired in the same way. So you can't just tell a cameraman, zoom in at this moment. You say, this is the moment I want to capture this. Or the costume designer, you don't say, he's in Wranglers in this scene. You say, well, here's a guy, remember, let's put him in skinny jeans at first because he hasn't fit in yet. So really getting everyone creatively on the same page is the most fulfilling thing about directing that I learned.
We're going to close with this. How many times have you seen Inglorious Basterds?
I tend not to watch myself on screen, but I've seen myself in GIFs of Inglorious Basterds constantly, because that last shot of me and Brad Pitt nodding has become kind of a classic film moment. So that I've seen too many times to count.
You're not the first to tell me that. I've asked Samuel L. Jackson, because these movies are always on. You're in a hotel or whatever. And he's like, no, I don't watch.
That's a shame, because if you're Sam Jackson, there's a lot to enjoy about your performance.
My friend, he's a great guy, by the way. Not dissing him because he'll come over and kick my ass. But great to meet you, man.
Great to meet you. Thanks for wanting to talk about this.
Awesome.
And for flying out from Houston.
Yes, sir.